I want to make this video about everything that's just, going on within the world, but I think the main topic of this video is the conclusion and the question of life itself. Everything we do, whether you're an accountant, you're a taxer, or you're a construction worker, or you're working at a restaurant, you're going to college, or you're an entrepreneur, it's to have a purpose in life. And humans need purpose. It is impossible not to have purpose in life. Trying to not even have a purpose is a purpose itself. I think the question every day I ask myself is it even worth it at the end of the day? I mean, we get up, we eat breakfast. Even if you're lucky to eat breakfast, I think most Americans, or people in general, whether if you're in America or other countries who are just, middle class people, just, they get up and they just rush to work and they have a coffee, or they get an energy bar, or they just, get something in their body just to work, their long hourly shift. And then, if they get a lunch break, which I think most jobs, you have to have a lunch break. I think it's under law, you have to give the workers a break. They have their lunch break, and then they go back to, work, and then they come home. And if you can even, if you're fortunate to have, something for dinner, good for you. But if, you have to struggle to, even get fast food, which fast food is ridiculously expensive. Not that it's healthy for you, but I mean, when I was a kid, it was a lot cheaper, and I mean, it was just an easy meal, to get into your body, so you could, run on something, even though it's probably not the best thing to run off on. And then you go to bed, and then you wake up and do it all over again. It was funny. I had a bunch of guys who were making fun of me because they say, like, well, I mean, in a joking way, that they're like, haha, you're an NPC. And I'm like, bro, we're all NPCs. We all stare at our phones all day. I mean, I'm recording off my phone. We stare at it every day. We're swiping. I mean, that's all I see every day. We get up, we do the cycle, and we do it all over again. That's NPC behavior. We're all sheep at the end of the day. Not all of us, but I mean, a majority, almost 90% of the population are NPCs. And it's funny because I travel a lot, and I see my when I go up to, like, whether it's Alaska or Denver or wherever, and I'm not a rich guy. I mean, I'm just a hardworking middle class person, but I guess I'm just more fortunate to find time to I guess do favors for my citizens. And if I'm lucky, I get to have maybe a week or a month break. But all I see is just, like, people on their phones. Like, whether I'm like, I sit at the airport every time, and I just see people just on their phones 24/7. And I think, like, technology is the most amazing thing humans have invented, but I also think it's the most harmful as well. I mean, human interaction has just declined significantly. I mean, the lack of communication skills social media has damaged is incredible. I mean, I have a lot of people who are just, I would, have conversations with, and if it's not about sports, or, it's not about, like, drama, or, it's not, whether it's sex or drugs, any other topic, like, just say, hey, how's your day? And people are just very dry. They're like, they seem uninterested about it. Because, I mean, let's be honest. Our days, like I said, with the cycle, waking up, going to work, coming home and doing, it's very uninteresting. Everybody does it. So, I mean, you're bound to basically get the same answer. And, I mean, it's depressing. A lot of people I've noticed down south, because I live up, right now I'm up north. A lot of people down south are a bit, I mean, I would say a little more outgoing, but basically they're just, for the most part, they're all the same, like all people I have seen in general. They're all swiping on their phones, and whether they're eating at a restaurant, I mean, I see people still like picking up their phones and they're just like, which I understand, like if your job is like, social, like digital, or they have to have a family emergency. I mean, this is how we communicate now, through our phones. But it's just astounding to see the amount of lack of social skills or communication we have because of these devices. 90% of our time is committed to these devices. And even if you're in a relationship, whether you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, I mean, a lot of your time is still going to be committed to the phone. And I mean, most people find their, I would say a majority of people find their relationships through social media and their phones. In general, I would think that once you find your partner, you would be willing to maybe set down the phone majority, because most dates that I have seen or I've experienced, we've been on our phones a majority of the time, which is like, you're on a date, you're there to enjoy the time with a person, to human socially interact, but most of the time you're just like, I wonder what's going on social media, I wonder what's going on Tinder, I mean don't do Tinder if you're all right, that was just a stupid thing I said, but I mean, or I wonder what's going on, Facebook, or whether it's Instagram. I mean, I think a majority of the dates I've been on personally, or I've seen people on, is just, on their phones once they get, kind of in the middle or established in a relationship. And even married people sitting at home, they're just doing this all day. And I think it's a huge reason why marriages are failing today, is because people are just more invested to see what's on their phones than trying to be invested with each other. And it's crazy because our phones is what, is the information of what's going on in the world. So we're basically trying to see human interactions through on a phone, because everybody records, just like I'm doing right now, trying to make this video. Everybody records, or they post, just to, for other people to have, an opinion on their, their social statue or their life, or just what their interactions are through life. And it's crazy that, I mean, it's an amazing thing. I think having a phone, like this technology that we have invented, and it's only going to keep advancing further, which I hope it doesn't, vice versa, it doesn't advance backwards. But, if as long as it keep advancing, I think it's going to get more crazy by the day, because I wouldn't be surprised within the next maybe 50 years that we would have like these digital, like you see in the movies, where the visual like screen pops up and you're boop boop beep bopping, the buttons, which humans are capable 100% of doing, coming up with that kind of technology. But also I just think it's hurting, it's badly damaged the human social skills, where humans can have conversations and talk with each other and really understands like each other's emotions, feelings, and it's amazing because we want interactions, but I feel like we're more hypnotized through all the graphics. And I mean, I'm guilty of this 100% myself, with what's going on screen. And I mean, you can play games, you can watch videos, you can call Instacart, you can Uber. I mean, I'm a DoorDash myself, so I mean, it's amazing what the phone is capable of doing. It's very dangerous. I mean, social media, especially, I mean, the internet is extremely, extremely dangerous. But you can put your financial information digitally now. It's crazy. back when I asked my dad before, because he grew up in the 1950s, he told me, like, we didn't have, before we had these fancy phones, like, everybody would get their money from the bank, and now you can just, with a tap of the button or, screen scan of your face, you can access your money onto your card digitally, or just do the card, digitally, put your card on the phone, just hold it near a card reader if they have those at a store or a restaurant, and you'll just transfer money, which is crazy. Yeah, but it just, it's crazy to see, like, people, I mean, even having access to all this, technology and, these phones, it still brings up the question, like, as a middle class citizen, like, can I, like, is this all I'm offered to, really experience and enjoy in life? And 90% of the population is hardworking middle class citizens, and 10% are the rich and the wealthy. And I feel like a lot of us, like I said, we go through that cycle. We wake up, we go to work, we go on our lunch break, and then, we get off, we clock out of our shift, and we, go home and, figure out dinner. I mean, that's a work of a job itself, but, we eat, if you're fortunate, or if you have time, it depends on whether your shift is, and, you go to bed, and you do it all over again. Or if you're a night shift guy, you do whatever your business you have to do for the day, you go to work at night, and then, by the time morning comes, I don't know how it varies on your shift, but I mean, if you go to bed and then you just go to your night shift, but I mean, if you live with your parents, or, you have a house or an apartment, I mean, you definitely have to make time for your bills and stuff, and, your necessities to survive. But brings in the phones, like, I feel like those are the contributors to how I think a lot of us, get through life. I guess we try to block out most of our, our suffering, pain, and depression through our phones. And it's crazy because, we have, you can pay with things through your phone now. So, I mean, you kind of, at the same time, you need these things to survive. If you get in an accident, you need to, call someone. I mean, or, if you can turn your location on, which is crazy. I mean, and people can see where you are, whether on Snapchat or through, I guess, message. It depends if you have a smartphone or an iPhone. I mean, I have an iPhone, which Apple, yeah. But I just feel like, trying to, survive in today's economy, it is a marathon itself. The poverty through America, it's horrible. I mean, I live on the outskirts of Buffalo, New York. Yeah, I live in New York. Yeah. And the amount of poverty I see is just unbelievable. I mean, people, I've been to, like, some of my buddies' houses, and they live in the most disgusting, decrepit houses I've ever been in. It's disgusting. And it just shows that people are poor. I mean, basically, if the government and the companies want, their goal is to get rid of the middle class, they are succeeding 100%, because the middle class, I don't think truly really is existing anymore. I think it's just coming down to the poor and the rich. And it's depressing. It's really sad, because you see all those, rich people, benefiting from us hardworking citizens so they can enjoy their lives, while most of us have to suffer. But, you watch on, like, it comes on your phone again, you're watching all the successful people, like, and I know social media, like, you truly don't know what's going, when the camera's off, but from what I've seen from, like, the top 10% of people, like, they're enjoying their life, they're traveling a lot, they're going to all these fancy restaurants, staying in expensive hotels, they drive all these fancy cars, or they're getting on these private jets and stuff. And I'm not saying that, like, these rich, like, all these rich people are bad, but for a majority, most of them are, you know, pretty evil and corrupt. And a lot of these people are just, you know, blessed to have these lifestyles. And I feel like that's what comes down to me. The average American citizen is very, you know, angry and depressed and just jealous and envious of seeing these people, you know, through your phone. Like, damn, bro, I wish I had that lifestyle, bro. Like, I wish I was, you know, wearing all these expensive chains. I mean, it's just an example. I'm not a chain guy, but I mean, like, you know, all these really super expensive clothes that cost like $10,000 pants, a couple $1,000 shoes, you know, $1,000 jacket or shirt. I mean, and we're just like, damn, I wish I could be eating, you know, expensive steak dinners or gourmets and all this shit. And I feel like it brings out a lot of insecurities, stress, depression, anxiety, because most of us know we're not going to be able, never throughout our life, we're going to be able to even experience that. A quarter, let alone 1% of that, you know, type of pleasure or lifestyle. And I mean, that probably, like, in my opinion, explains why a lot of people are very, you know, short fused today. A lot of people are angry, very, you know, quick to violence, is because everybody is stressed out. Everybody is depressed. You know, they're struggling, whether, you know, they're frightened whether they're going to even be able to eat the next day, let alone have a roof over their house the next week. People I know are moving in, you know, back with their parents. They're leaving their apartments. They can't even live in an apartment by themselves because they have, the only way you can do that now, it seems like today, is you have to, like, live with another person in an apartment, and split the rent. It's incredible to see the amount of just suffering that's going on throughout, not just in America, but throughout the world. And it seems like as time goes on, it seems like the rich and the, you know, the politicians are, seems like they're becoming more successful, and they're just becoming more rich. And it just seems like us, American, whether you're, you know, you're Kenyan or you're French, or, I mean, French working citizens are just becoming poorer and poorer. And I mean, can we blame these people at the same time? I mean, if we were rich and we were in their shoes, I mean, we're human and we have our faults. I mean, would we really be, you know, trying to really help the people? I think we'd be, you know, taking advantage of the system and trying to become more rich. Because, I mean, if there's like anything I've learned throughout my life is you'll never be satisfied. You can never have enough. But yeah, I just wanted to make this video about, like, you know, life in general and how I see it. You know, there's always hope in life. You know, there's always a chance. I mean, I'd rather have a 1% chance than a 0% chance of having any major success in life. But, you know, I at the end of the day, this is what I've come to conclude in life, that life is just so depressing, and it's so it seems like it's pointless, and, you know, we're just all a bunch of NPCs. You know, it feels like we're just going through a cycle, and we're just, you know, waking up, you know, going to work, and then coming home at the end of the day and just going to bed and do it all over again. And I feel like that's why there's a lack of interest with a lot of people's lives, because people are just, 90% of people are just going through that cycle like I am. And maybe I'm fortunate because I get to travel, you know, a bit more than most people. But at the end of the day, you know, it comes down to that conclusion, whether, you know, you want to keep, you know, going through life, just going through the motions, or whether you just come to a point and you're like, okay, like, what am I doing? Where am I going to get from here? Like, is there any hope or chance that I can, you know, break the wall, or just, you know, get to a point in life where I can just, you know, be satisfied where I can just live in a decent house. Because this isn't my house. This is my parents' house. Or get into an apartment where I'm just like, at least a decent apartment where I can just at least live away from my parents. Because most people I know, they're moving back in with their parents. They can't afford to pay the rent because of inflation, and just 13 items cost $70, almost to $100 from the grocery store, and it's ridiculous. Yeah, life is hard. Life is tough. But if you've gone through this, if you've lasted this long in this, depressing but try to be a realistic video, then I thank you. Like, subscribe, feel free to leave a comment. Whether, you want to leave your opinion on insight, how you view life, or whether you have a different opinion, how you see it, different from me. Yeah. Feel free to hate as well. Say, I look like a stupid idiot, filming a video, but whatever. I mean, feel free to, leave a like, a comment, subscribe. And, thank you for sitting through this 21-minute depressing video.